So a minute ago I referenced 6 years ago when we were fired. We were terminated illegally by our mayorally appointed school board. Well, that school board has come a long way in the last 6 years, and our relationship with the school board and the respect of our school board is drastically changed and improved. So today we have a very enthusiastic school board member who we're going to invite up here. His name is Mr. Mark Santow, who is a real champion for public education. He happens to be a professor at UMass Dartmouth, and as in history, and has a lot of knowledge and a lot of understanding about this. So Mark, come on up, please.
How are we doing? Staying warm? Okay. I'm a much better writer than I am a public speaker, so I brought notes. Hopefully it won't take too long. I'm actually here just to speak as a citizen, not as a member of the school board. But please know that the school board did pass a resolution, I think about 6 weeks or so ago, encouraging the state and the mayor to not approve this final expansion of Achievement First. So I have a lot of reasons why I oppose the expansion, but I'm going to focus on 3 here. First, whatever benefit, which I think is dubious, a couple thousand kids may get from the expansion of Achievement First, it will come at the expense of more than 20,000 Providence children and their families, and the thousands of young people in the future who will seek and are entitled to a public education here. Under the current funding calculus, the fiscal impact will be inequitable, irreparable, and devastating. The way we finance public education in our state is deeply flawed. Our dependence on the property tax to fund education and other public services is among the highest in the nation. It reinforces segregation, and it systematically underfunds urban school districts. Until that system is changed, Mr. Mayor, I believe it would be unethical to approve the expansion of Achievement First. In cities around the country, dramatic increases in charter school enrollment have damaged the financial well-being of school districts, depriving children of educational opportunity, and even putting city bond ratings at risk. The NAACP has recently called for a national moratorium on charter schools, in part for this reason. Second, what is being proposed here is effectively a high-risk social and financial experiment with our children and with other people's children, without a plan B. When we have a public school system that is overburdened and underfunded, it defies common sense as well as common decency to siphon money from it to build a second, parallel, and less accountable one. It is akin to responding to a fire in your kitchen by selling your fire extinguishers to build another kitchen. Sorry, page turn. We have too much child poverty and too much segregation, and a system of paying for public education that afflicts the afflicted and comforts the comfortable. Expanding charter school seats does not fix this, and in a zero-sum resource environment, it'll make it worse. To justify such a high-stakes gamble, putting the lives of over 20,000 kids at stake for the benefit of 1/10 that number, would require the situation in the public schools in Providence to be so dire as to leave no other option. Which brings me to my 3rd point. Why do this now? I've been on the school board here for almost 2 years. I visit schools, I talk to teachers, principals, and parents, and I am inspired by what I'm seeing. The district is moving towards school autonomy. It's pushing resources and staff out of the central office and into schools. We're developing curriculum and services that are culturally responsive and sensitive to the social emotional needs of our students and their families. And we're doing this despite a resource situation that's roughly akin to running up a down escalator. The percentage of school-aged kids in our city in need of ELL services, for example, will grow in the coming years while our school buildings continue to deteriorate. We had the resources to create one pre-K classroom in Providence this year. One. Despite overwhelming evidence for the benefits of pre-K education. Mr. Mayor, you clearly share my optimism, since your upcoming All-In Summit would not be possible without it. And since you have now finally committed extra funding for PPSD in your budget. Achievement First expansion is not consistent with being all in. It is contrary to it. I should add that the presidential election has thrown the very future of federal funding for public education into doubt at precisely the moment when public schools desperately need more, not less. Now is not the time for this. Traumatized young refugees from war-torn places show up, often alone, to our public schools, to this building, every day. And we accept them and we try to do our best by them because despite the outcome of the recent election, that is the best of who we are. This is what it means to have a public school system. Common schools, they used to call them. I cannot imagine a worse time for us to be weakening our public institutions, especially one so central to our civic immune system and our future as a just society, as public schooling is. We need to come together in Providence to defend our public schools, not eviscerate them. In this dark time, our children have a right to expect better from us. When this state is ready to address child poverty and housing segregation and exclusionary zoning and our regressive tax system and a constitutional right to an equal and effective education and the need for universal pre-kindergarten, I'm willing to listen to proposals like expanding something like Achievement First. But right now, this moves us in the wrong direction, Mr. Mayor, and I urge you to veto it.